Hi all, this is Nelly, Ordinary People Saintly Souls, and in the stories leading up to Easter, as based on the visions of the Italian mystic Maria Valtorta, today I'm going to read for you what Jesus is doing after he enters Jerusalem in this glorious fashion on what is now known as Palm Sunday. On that day of Palm Sunday, then he goes to the temple where he sees a uproar and busyness of money changers and vendors, and the vendors sell doves, sparrows, and lambs. Those are animals used for different rituals that people buy and that they donate to the temple very often. That is as a sacrifice. It's not donation, it's sacrifice. And so right now, the vendors are actually very annoyed because everybody's gone out to see Jesus enter Jerusalem. So there's not much business to do for them. And so then Jesus comes in and his eyes flash with anger. He rushes to the center of the court and he leaps in an unexpected way. It's like almost looking like a flame because the coat he's wearing is bright red. And so when it reflects in the sunshine of the court, it looks like a flame. And his voice is powerful as thunder. And he says, "Away from the house of my father, there is no place for usury or markets. It is written, my house will be called the house of prayer. So why have you turned it into a robber's den, this house, in which the name of the Lord is being invoked? Go away, leave my house clean, that it may not happen to you, that instead of using ropes, I may strike you with thunderbolts." With ropes, he means like a kind of a whip he has made out of ropes that he hits the tables with. Go away, you thieves, swindlers, murderers, impious persons, lewd people, idolaters of the worst idolatry, that of one's proud ego, corrupters and liars. Out, out, get out. And then he goes to the nearest bench that he can find and turns it over, and all the scales and money fall on the floor. And then he shouts, the vendors, they make haste, they flee, and Jesus shouts after them, "How many times shall I have to say that this must not be a place of filth, but a place of prayer?" This is, by the way, not the first time he has ousted them from the temple, but they have come back. So when Jesus leaves Jerusalem, they come back. And then he suddenly turns to the many sick people, because all kinds of people heard he was coming. So they have gathered, especially those who feel sick or have certain ailments have gathered. And with one wide gesture, he heals them all. He says when he heals those who believe that he can heal them. And then again, he gets a little altercation with the Pharisees, which is of no importance right now. And after that, after he has cleansed the temple, he decides to go out of Jerusalem again, and he plans to sleep somewhere in a field near Galilee. And Judas is very perturbed by that, because Judas says, "Why are you going out? I thought you were going to your mom's house." Well, because Judas, as we can see, is trying to find the place where the leaders of that Jewish council can arrest Jesus. And he feels frustrated because, of course, if Jesus is lying in the middle of a field filled with people who are all on their way to Jerusalem to fulfill the duty that they should gather in Jerusalem for the Feast of Passover. So again, a field like that is very hard. It's not a good place to capture Jesus. So now Jesus, at the very end of this reading, I'm now page 207, he reflects on how these scenes are depicted in the Gospel of Luke. He says Luke is basically incoherent, almost illogical. especially where it concerns what he says about the destruction of Jerusalem, because he said, I feel very sorry for the misfortunes of this town because they are guilty, but I do not feel sorrow for their habits, because I can't, because it is those habits that brought the misfortunes upon them. When you soil the cult of God, of the Most High, and when you ignore the law of God, that provokes the punishments of heaven. So that is basically his summary of why Jerusalem will be destroyed. And he said, over the centuries, I have never stopped shaking and warning people. But as in the old days, I drew a lot of mockery, indifference, and hatred instead of people listening to me. So this is where this vision ends. And next time we are going to talk about the evening of Palm Sunday. This was Nelly, Ordinary People, Saintly Souls, reading from and summarizing from Maria Valtorta. See you later.